Hey everybody, this is Caesar with SmallEngineVelocity again with the second video for the GY6. This is kind of a part 2. There'll be a part 3 also. But I wanted to give you an update as to what has been done so far and the problems that I've ran into with the am I in the mid? There you go. With the GY6 Honda Ruckus. It's been a super awesome learning experience, and most people, when they run into stuff like problems and stuff like that, I relish them. I like to learn and figure out why it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing, so this was a good experience for me. The harness was used, everything was used, so you know, there's hit or miss as to the consistency of the pieces. I'm very sure that if you were a person who bought a brand new harness and all the parts inside of a kit, or bought every piece individually, then you would have a lot less issues than I did. But yeah, let's kind of take a look real quick, kind of the things that I've been doing. So let's start with the rear wheel. The rear wheel has been leaking air. It's still leaking air. It's coming out of the bead. And when I could spray soap water in there, it was bubbling like crazy. I'm gonna end up taking the tire off and breaking the bead and then cleaning the edges, because what's happened is possibly some dirt or something got stuck inside of here and caused it to not sit exactly on the bead, and air is leaking out. I did try to put the green goo inside of here, the slime, and it stopped it for the most part. I can go a whole 5 hours of riding with no air. I mean, without having to fill up with air. Then, on the exhaust that Lee loaned me, the rivets were coming out all over the place from vibration, I'm assuming. So I went ahead and riveted these back in. Well, those aren't new, but on the other side. But these are new ones down here. And then since these are reverse thread and regular thread, you can turn this in either direction to pull the swing of this arm in and out. I pulled it in a little bit because I was dragging the exhaust on the ground, which is no good. But come to find out, what it was I had my shock right here. It was all the way down, so I stiffened it up, or Lee stiffened it up, and then it was able to go back on again. Then I went ahead and put the ankle biter cover on for this part. I don't have the other part that goes here. This was given to me by Rem. Thank you, Rem, for that part. And then I went ahead and painted the FLP, which it's not the FLP. It's probably an imitation. And then I need some pinions. Lee wants me to paint this black. Should I leave it orange? Let's step back. Should I leave it orange? Or what do you think being black? And then at the same time, these wheels. Should I change the wheels in the front and the back to also be black? And should I swing this out a little bit more to bring it down? I'm kind of liking the height thing, because I've had issues with riding this thing being low, so it would be nice. I also cracked the battery box, so that's gonna have to be replaced, and it was already cracked here before from the previous owner. So let's talk about what's in this battery box. I'm gonna flip the camera around. So one of the things I learned, okay, so you put connectors in because you have to connect wires with crimp ends, and you can solder them. Soldering them would be the best, but I didn't do that. If I get a new harness, then I'll probably solder those ends in. But I used butt connectors, the ones that you can plug in and plug out. They're like, oh, bullet connectors. And I thought that would be awesome, but it sucks. Why? Because when you're trying to mash the wires and manipulate the wires inside of there, you keep pulling those stupid butt connectors out. And then you squeeze the end so that it'll be a little bit tighter in the butt connector. They still come out. So don't use a butt connector unless you really think that you need to disconnect it. because it's not going to be anywhere near useful when you're messing with your battery. Second issue that I ran into was that the headlight was flashing like crazy. And with the ATR harness, there's a 12 volt DC connection that you can switch to, especially if you have LED bulbs. You switch to the 12 volt one. It's in the ATR Harness video series for the Ruck shop, but in the third video it shows the DC connector that you can switch it to, so you have a consistent light in the front, you don't burn out bulbs. And then I was trying to, I got everything running and I started riding it around, and then after about 5 minutes, or after about 10 minutes, my bike, the lights would start like really like looking like a strobe light, like my power was being run down. Well, come to find out, my stator wasn't charging my battery. So I tested the stator, AC voltage coming out of there. I tested the other end of the harness, and it was getting from the stator to the beginning of the, not the stator, it was going from the stator to the rectifier. And then I tested the output of the rectifier, and I was getting current. So there was a failure somewhere between in the harness from the rectifier to the electrical system, so it was feeding and charging. So I ended up bypassing that by tapping the red wire coming out of the DC of the rectifier, and using an inline fuse wire, make sure it has a fuse on it, and then plugged it to the battery. I found that information on the internet, but it was nice to know that it wasn't there. I mean, that fixed my problem. So when you put your voltage meter on your battery after you've started it, and your rectifier, I mean your stator isn't charging your battery, it'll say 12.1 volts, 12.0 volts, 11.99 volts, and it'll just incrementally drop. Well, when your stator's working, it's like 12.1, 12.5, 11.9, 12.2, and then you rev your motor, and then it goes to like 12.5, 13. So that's how you know when your stator's working. So this is a pretty big learning experience so far. I personally am enjoying the challenge of putting something in something that's not supposed to be there. Right now, my bike, when you start it, it not dies. Once it warms up, then it will idle correctly. So I think I need to do a valve adjustment inside this motor. And I went ahead and changed the oil twice to wash out anything that might have gotten in the motor. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a moto vlog at the very end of this, which is right now, so you can kind of see how she's running. So let's go ahead and switch to the helmet right now. All right, everybody, here we go. This is the GY6 Ruckus that we were just talking about. I'll go ahead and put on my gloves. I have to run an errand to the vape shop, so we're gonna go ahead and go. I still have to adjust the idle screw, the one for that kind of pushes your throttle back and forth so that you can not die. But here, I can hear the fuel pump, and oop. So let's see if I get that working right, then that'd be good. But anyways, here we go. The number one thing that I can tell you right off the bat, is the acceleration is just amazing. Amazing. Like when I rode a small bore 2 wheels bike, that was the big advantage, was that it was let's see, I gotta fix that. Was all the torque that it had. Amazing torque, and it can pull you out of situations. Now, keep in mind, I had a Get over here in Houston, in Northwest Houston, and it was fine. It worked great for me. I had 45, 55, 50 mile per hour roads everywhere, and it was great. It didn't give me any issues. I could get everywhere I needed to go, and I got super gas mileage. Now I can get there faster, and I don't have super gas mileage. As a matter of fact, I'm not even 100% sure how many miles I can get out of a single tank. It's probably not a lot. Should I skip up there? Nah, not today. We're gonna go ahead and get on some straightaways and see how this goes. There you go, 45. Woot woot! I'm wondering about the reliability. I have formed some opinions about reliability issues. I believe that the reliability problems don't lie in the actual motor themselves, or they do sometimes, but not all the time. I think there's a lot of issues that have to go in the wire harness. So do your research when you build putting a wire harness in, and do it right. Take your time. Spend the most time putting the harness in. That seems like where you would get most of your faults from. But yeah, I'm liking it. It's good. It's going forward, which is the most important fact about it. But there's still some tuning to go on the idle and stuff like that. I'm still got to check out, you know, recheck jets and whatnot, make sure everything is good there. Okay, see, now that it's warm, she'll idle. Wonder if that's the valves then. What do you think? Because that's what used to be on my Get. Whenever I had problems with my Get, it would be that. Okay, so once we get past this light, I'm gonna kind of push it a little bit, kind of give you an idea of what's going on with speed, and then get it home for some more tunes. Uh-oh. Stuck at a light. Lots of backfiring. But yeah, so there you go. Sorry, I was busy going forward and concentrating on driving rather than talking. But anyways, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, there'll be more parts to this, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a decent journey for me. But hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next GY6 Experience video. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.